All right, all right, all right. We thank you for your presence for our Bible study hour with your host, Pastor Rob, here at Shiloh Baptist Church, Massillon, Ohio. I have my notes, I have my Hebrew English lexicon, I have my notes, pens, and I hope that you have yours ready so that we can begin this Bible study uh, for our spiritual warfare. Our last study, we examined the appropriate preparation for our spiritual warfare, and we studied that the main focus of the previous lesson was to get us aware of the spiritual warfare. Basically, I wanted you to understand the invisible realm of the spiritual conflict that we're in. I think what I need to do is tell you a little bit about this invisible realm of this spiritual conflict. So let me back up a little bit. You remember last week, I always talked about when I mention we, I'm talking about the church, the called out, the redeemed, the saints of God. We should be prepped and equipped for battle in this spiritual war. The spiritual war, here's where I'm going to talk about the invisible realm. The spiritual war is in the heavenlies. It is in the atmosphere, which is the invisible realm of the spiritual conflict that surrounds us every day, all throughout the day, and every time we move, we are in a spiritual conflict because of the heavenlies. In the previous study, we also examined two powerful scriptures. For those who tuned in last week, those two powerful scriptures laid down the foundation of our preparation and our equipping ourselves for this spiritual conflict. And those passages were 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 12, and Galatians chapter 1, verse 4, as those who were in our Bible study last week. Once again, we covered 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 12, and Galatians chapter 1, verse 4. I have a lot of material over the years that and it's kind of hard to try to know where to start at, but I think the Lord has given me a great opportunity to lay the foundation and move us along to where we're at today. And within those two scriptures, we found that there are two spirits operating in the world. And you can find the first spirit operating in the world in 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 12, and it mentions the Spirit of God. And in Galatians chapter 1, verse 4, you will see the other spirit that's working in the world, and it is the spirit of evil. And it is called the evil age. Then we covered two classes in the world. I classified them as the haves and the have-nots. Let's deal with the haves for a refresher. The haves are those who are now righteous. They have received the righteousness of Christ. When he died, he imputed his righteousness upon us. Imputed means he gave us his behavior, his spiritual behavior, so that we could be able to, under the power, to do the right thing spiritually. Then he gave those who are righteous power to overcome Satan's attacks. That's very, very important. We have the power, and then I'm going to deal with the authority to overcome Satan's attack. And then the greatest of all, he then gave us eternal life. We are the haves, eternal life with him. And then we are named the children of God. The have-nots, they don't manifest Christ. They don't like anything that represents Christ. They rebel against God. They rebel against his principles, the way he wants us to govern our lives. They reflect who their God is, and the God of this world is Satan. That's who they reflect. And then they have a name too. They are called the children of the devil. And you can find that in Ephesians chapter 2, verse 2. So that is the brief overview of our previous study. The study that we're going to go into in a few minutes, that you have joined, is very challenging. It is going to be eye-opening. All the lessons are going to be eye-opening and real. Okay, challenging, eye-opening, and real. And so the focus on this next lesson that you join in is to help you understand the invisible realm, know who our enemy is. It is unseen, and realize demonic bondage is real. Okay, those are our three things we're going to cover. The invisible realm, knowing who our enemy is, which is unseen, and then understanding that demonic bondage is real. So as we prepare, come on and follow me. Follow me into the next lesson. We are in a spiritual war, lesson 1. Okay? We are in a spiritual war. That is lesson 1 coming up next. So if you click lesson 1, and if you click that, then we're going to get ready for our basic training. Okay? So click lesson 1, and let's move on into our basic training. I'll see you when you get there.